There were 5 of us: Mom, Dad, my 2 sisters, and me. We thought the strange noises in our rented house were just the wind, until I joked about a woman with a baby, and my mom turned pale. Doors creaked open after we shut them. The baby monitor crackled, but we didn't have a baby. Sometimes the hallway light would switch on by itself. Little things, easy to ignore. I said, maybe it's the woman with the baby. I made it up, or thought I did. Mom asked who told me that name. Her face said she'd heard it before. My sister whispered she'd seen a woman standing at the foot of her bed, cradling something wrapped in a blanket. She never spoke, just hummed a lullaby that wasn't in any language we knew. One night, Mom was cleaning the hallway mirror. She called us over, shaking. In the reflection behind her stood a pale woman holding a baby, but when we turned around, nothing. The mirror fogged over and a handprint appeared from the inside of the glass. After that, the air in the house changed. Every photo with the hallway in frame blurred. The humming came from the vents. Dad tried to joke it away, but he started sleeping with the light on. One night a storm rolled in. Thunder shook the windows. Rain hit the roof like footsteps. Through the static of the baby monitor came the cry of a newborn. Then the power went out. In the flash of lightning, we saw her. In the doorway, holding the child, eyes black with sorrow. When the storm cleared, Dad said, "That's it. We're leaving." We packed that night, drove until sunrise. But the first night in our new house, my sister woke me up crying. She said, "She's here. She brought the baby." It wasn't the house that was haunted. It was us, or maybe just her, my sister, who'd begun to hum that same lullaby in her sleep. Years passed. We stopped talking about it. Then, visiting Mom last year, I heard it again, faint humming through the wall. Mom said the sound had never really stopped. Sometimes she feels someone watching from the hallway mirror we brought with us by mistake. I went back to the old rental, now boarded up. Through the window, I saw a dusty baby rattle lying on the floor. I didn't go inside. Some stories are doors you don't reopen. Sometimes I still dream about her, the woman with the baby. And when I wake, I swear I can hear a lullaby drifting through the vents. Maybe ghosts don't stay in houses. Maybe they stay in us.
When I was 14, I thought I was in love. He was older, much older. A friend of my dad's. He told me I was mature for my age, special, different, and I believed him. By 18, I was married to him. He was charming in public, but at home I learned what fear really felt like. He didn't hit me every day. That's what I told myself to make it feel normal. But when he did, it was bad enough to make me promise I'd be better next time. More obedient, more quiet. One day, he said we should go to therapy. He told me it would fix me. We sat in that cold office side by side. He went on and on about what a bad wife I was, how I didn't listen, how I didn't respect him. When it was my turn, I looked at the therapist and said,
"I just want him to stop dragging me across the floor."
The room went silent. Even the clock seemed to stop ticking. The therapist just nodded and said softly,
"I'd like you to come next week alone."
So I did. That week was the first time in years I spoke without fear. I told her everything. Every bruise, every night, pretending to sleep so I wouldn't be touched. Every apology for things that weren't my fault. After that session, he wouldn't stop asking what we talked about. "What did you tell her? What did you say about me?" The more I stayed silent, the more paranoid he became. That night, he took my keys, my glasses, my pager. He even disconnected the landline.
He said if I ever tried to leave, he'd kill me.
It took 2 tries, but I did escape barefoot, half-blind, shaking. I drove away in the middle of the night with whatever I could fit in my car. That was over 20 years ago. I never looked back. and thank God I never had children with him. Sometimes, though, when I close my eyes, I can still hear the ticking clock from that therapy room. The moment my life split in two. The girl who thought she was loved, and the woman who finally realized she was being hunted.
When I worked night shift, I drove home alone after closing. I worked at a fast food place and left at 2 in the morning. The highway was empty and my pickup felt like my only company. I remember the air being cold and my hands gripping the wheel a little tighter than usual. Out of nowhere, a man jumped in front of my truck. He came from the side, like he belonged to the shadows between the streetlights. I slammed on the brakes and my heart hit my throat. He climbed into the bed of my pickup and started slamming on the back window with both fists. He looked panicked, like someone had been chasing him for miles. He was pounding, telling me to drive now, with his voice all cracked and broken. I could see the fear in his eyes, but I didn't know what he was running from or why he picked my truck. I drove fast and I swerved a little to shake him loose. Everything felt unreal, like a bad dream you keep hoping will end. When I finally pulled up in front of a convenience store, I killed the engine and sat there for a second, trying to breathe. I always kept a kukri and a metal pipe in the truck because night shifts make you cautious. I grabbed the kukri and opened my door slowly so I could see him through the rear window. He was still there, hitting the glass, like it was the only thing that could keep him from whatever was behind him. I told him to leave and held the kukri out with all the force I could find in my voice. He begged me to keep driving like that would save him from something worse than me. I told him again to get out and to go because I wasn't the one he needed to cling to. He ran to the doors of the convenience store, but the door was locked. The clerk was in the restroom and there was no one to open it for him. Then the man climbed into the back of a taxi sitting in the parking lot and just sat there like he'd decided to hide inside plain sight. My adrenaline was roaring in my ears, and my hands still trembled when I climbed back into the driver's seat. I drove off, even though every part of me wanted to stop and figure out what had happened. I don't know who he was running from or what he'd seen. All I know is how small and loud that night felt inside me. Sometimes I replay that moment in my head and try to find the second where I could have done something different. Mostly, I'm grateful I had the tools and the nerve to hold my ground, and that the night ended with me driving away. There are people who run toward danger, and people who run from it. That night, I ran away from whatever the man in my pickup was running from, and I carried the memory with me.